Nobody of the reviewers of microphones ever does stuff like this. Yeah, we have this newest microphone over here and it's really great. Hello everyone, it's True the Detective here and this episode is about microphones. And did you know that there's a whole slew of microphones out there? And there's a whole lot of reviews and whole channels on YouTube dedicated to reviewing this microphone stuff. And I've been researching these mics, trying to find one that's great for my voice. And here's the microphones that I think that are the most sensible options for anybody that wants to spend tops 300 on a mic. And the first one of them is quite a new mic called Lewitt Ray. And it has this AUTOFOCUS function in it, which means that the microphone changes its gain based on your distance from it. So that would be great for any content creator that, for example, wants to use the mic in a room further or closer away. Sometimes they are very close to the mic, sometimes very far, sometimes they use a pop filter, some other times not. And that aura technology in it is probably the selling point in the mic. It's the selling point, but the mic itself, it doesn't sound very good. In the same kind of a price range, there's the Rode NT1 5th generation. That's what I'm using right now. The Rode NT1 5th generation is a very natural sounding mic. In my own opinion, it sounds very pleasant to the ear, but it's not so clear. I would say that the Lewitt, it sounded more clear in the reviews. It has a very clear sound. But I would feel that that mic wouldn't be so great, for example, like black metal type of stuff. Nobody of the reviewers of microphones ever does stuff like this. Yeah, we have this newest microphone over here and it's really great. And finding out that most of the reviewers that review these microphones don't have very great voices. They cannot really do voices like this. Now we have this type of microphone and it's sounding great. You know, they just don't do that stuff in the reviews. So it's very hard to kind of understand it's very hard to understand from those reviews how far that microphone can really go. Is that, are you really listening to the microphone or the individual that is doing the singing or the rap or the speech? Are you listening to the mic or are you listening to the person? And I would say that it's a bit of both. Microphones have their own sound. And when you listen to the person or whatever the recording is about, you are also listening to the mic. You cannot go around that. And as a last note in here, in this entry-level range of microphones, there's the SHURE MB7 Plus. And this one is geared and marketed towards streamers, and I would feel that from the sound, how I listen to this, I would feel that this is really bad choice for anybody that wants to sing. It's just voice speech and it sounds pretty great. Then let's progress further into this video and let's go for the higher end mics. So all of these are XLR microphones. By the way, those entry level range, two of them were USB-C XLR, both outputs, but one of them, the Lewitt Ray, it only had XLR. Now for the higher end microphones, and I picked three microphones over here, and one of them is from Rode and two of them are from NEUMANN. So that's a German manufacturer, and what defines a NEUMANN sound and the price range is that these are more expensive and these sound more professional. They have a broadcasting radio type of sound. It sounds, the mic itself sounds like a mic that matters. It matters, and I would feel that if you wanna get people to listen to you, I would go with NEUMANN. but I wouldn't go with every one of their models for every use case there is. I would say that the U89 over here on the left side really sounds good, really good. And the price is over 3,000 on that mic. In the middle there's the Neumann TLM 103, and it's the cheapest Neumann that sounds really great. It sounds great. But I would say that these mics, they sound the lower end Neumanns, they sound thinner. And their lowest end model is called the TLM 102. And I would say that it has a metallic noise in its shell. And it doesn't sound good. If you would, for example, do any bass heavy vocals on it, or you would do metal singing, just like if you would do metal singing on that TLM 102, it would be a really great option for that. And that's because the sound is just too thin. I don't know what it is about the mic, maybe there's not enough surface area that captures the sound, whatever it is, but it has a metallic sound in it and it doesn't sound so natural. And for any radio broadcasting, voicing stuff, this would be great. And the U89 would also probably be great for the studio use where you do real singing and, for example, rap. I believe that quite a bit of these professional rappers have used the U89, but I'm not really sure if the internet is right on that. And then we have one tube microphone. So tube microphones are microphones that have an amplifier, like the tube amplifiers had with the guitar amps. And what Rode mics have, in my own opinion, is very natural sound. For example, the NT1 5th generation, from all of these, I think that from the reviews, I think it sounded most like the person was actually speaking in the room. But the problem with that mic, the NT 5th generation, is that it has a spaciness in it. And it captures the space of the room very well. And here I'm not using the reflection shield for it. But going back to the Rode K2 tube microphone here on the right, I think that it sounds very natural, but it lacks clarity. That's what the Rode microphones lack. They lack clarity, but because they lack clarity, if you have a great voice and you can push it further, the mic doesn't choke up, it can handle it. There's a lot of mics that just can't handle when you go over the top. You want to do voice acting type of stuff. Rode mics are great for that. They have character. Then let's go to the mics that a lot of you guys would probably be interested in, and that's USB microphones. And here's one, Sennheiser Profile on the left side. And I have one of these, and it's a great mic, but there's a bit of problems with it. First of all, you cannot sing with this type of microphone. It just cannot handle it, as I said. It also has something called a self-noise. So microphones have a certain decibel of self-noise. And for example, let's go back to the Rode K2 tube microphone. It has more self-noise, more hush and hum than the Rode NT 5th generation that I'm now recording. I have the mic right now next to my computer, so there's bound to be a little fan noise there. But the mic itself is very silent. What I read online is that the Rode NT 5th generation is the most silent microphone there is. It has the lowest self-noise, it has the lowest amount of decibels of noise in it compared to every other mic. The Rode K2 is more loud, and this makes the sound less isolated. You might prefer this, and if you're using it in a music purpose where you either way have music on top of it, mixed into it, it probably wouldn't matter. with most XLR microphones, the inherent self-noise. But I'm a YouTuber, I do a lot more than just music stuff, so I really like that there's no self-noise in the microphone. Back to the USB mics. There's the Audio-Technica AT220 USB. There's also the XLR, the legendary gamer streamer XLR AT220 microphone from Audio-Technica. And you know, these are lower end microphones, you wouldn't do any serious stuff on that, but it's probably pretty great if you're talking to your buddies on Skype or whatever they use nowadays. Then there's the Rode NT USB Plus. It's also a USB microphone, but I would say that that's probably not a very great option. I would go for the NT 5th generation instead. Next I have for you some sensible options. And these can't be really put into a category, but on the left side there's the Audio-Technica AT440. And it sounds very different from the Rhodes and from the Neumanns. It's less broadcasting in its character. I would say that it might be a great mic for rappers, but I wouldn't go for it for singing purposes. It's not so clear, has a bit of a muddled sound in it. It might be great for anybody that wants to do heavily effectized sound. Then there's the Rode NT2A, and this is an older model from Rode from 2001, and it has the switchable polar patterns on it. So you can change how it records, either from only the front of it or the back or a circular pattern. And it also has a low cut filter, and that removes some of the lowest frequencies in the recording. But what I felt from this microphone is that it's probably better suited for recording instruments than the human voice, because it just has that broadcasty type of character which gets very overpowered when you record, for example, drums with it. But with the human voice, I wouldn't probably go for this if you have very wide range that you can use your voice in. For example, with voice acting and metal singing, this wouldn't be the mic to go with. Then there's the Sony C80, and this sounded beautiful, clear, and especially for very clear singing, I would probably go for that microphone. But you might notice that the Rode one has a pop filter in it. Some of these microphones come with the shock mount, but they don't have a pop filter. So you might want to add that, and maybe one of these beasties boys, the reflection shield, after you have gotten the mic. Next, I want to show you, just as an example, nobody of you will get this mic. This is what the real pros use, Sony C800G. So this mic costs over 10 grand. And this is the mic that they used to record Eminem, for example, and Sony Music manufactures the microphone, Sony themselves, and this one, it's also a tube microphone. When you compare the sound of this, the Sony C800G, go ahead and just find a review about it on YouTube. It's just a great sounding microphone. It's so clear. It sounds like you're there with the person. It sounds like the microphone brings forth the sound of almost anybody. I feel that if you had this mic, almost anybody could sound pretty great on it. And as a last note, I want to show you two microphones that I had bad experience with, that I didn't like. And one of them I still have. It's on the right side. It's great as a decoration. The Earthworks Audio Icon. Don't buy that fucking mic. And in theory it would sound great, but it has horrible inherent self-noise. And it's one of those mics that cannot really handle an extreme voice. That's what's so great about the Rode NT1 5th generation. It can handle very extreme type of voice usage. And on the left side here, there's the higher end model of the NT2A, the NT2000. And this mic is so clear, the sound of it is so clear, but it's very thin. It sounds thin and it sounds like a mic that cannot really handle. As I said, if you start to do screaming metal type of stuff, that mic is not a great option for it. It cannot capture low end very well. It's a broadcasting type of mic, and I would say that it might sound even better in that situation than the Neumann lowest end, the TLM 102. So for that, it might be a great option because it's a bit cheaper also. I ended up returning that mic years ago. Next, I want to talk to you as a last note about video camera microphones and also one pocketable recorder. The Zoom Essential Recorder. Are these great? Well, they're great for recording effects, but for the human voice they are pretty finicky. If you get loud enough, they cannot handle your voice, these pocketable recorders. They're great for recording birds, they're great for recording sounds. That's what I would use them for. They're not great for recording XLR microphones. You can do it on them, but I would get for that the real audio interface. The Sennheiser MKA600, that's a video camera microphone I've used for a lot of my videos. It has quite a bit of inherent self noise, this kind of humming in it, this hiss. I don't like that, and the voice is not very bass heavy, but you can even sing to this microphone. It's great. And then on the left side there's the Rode Video Micro 2, and I dig that video camera mic. It's cheap, it's portable, it's very small, and it actually has very low self noise. And especially if you go outside, this is such a great mic because you don't have to worry about it. It's so cheap, but it records a very good, that you can add a lot of effects, compressors, whatever. It's a very good starting point. And that's what Rode mics usually give you. And as a last note, I want to say to you just one little advice. If you already have a microphone that costs about 300 or 400 or maybe 170, don't get another mic in the same price range and expect that you're gonna get much benefit out of it. Instead, for example, for the price of a mic like the Rode NT Plus, you could get 3 rings like these ones.